Alright, before you guys say anything like,
What an absolute retard.
you know what, I think it's better that you just see exactly what he's looking at right now. As much as I'm a noob at playing drums, at least I don't look so much as a retard after you see me doing that, right? What you just saw there is Paradiddle. It is a game which allows you to literally play air drum on VR. Instead of just explaining it to you, I think it's better that I show you exactly how it is done in-game. Now mind you that I'm not a drummer, I'm more like a tech and music enthusiast who happened to play a little bit of drum a few years ago. So this video is gonna be from the perspective of an amateur or a beginner. Now let's get into it. Alright, now we're in the game. Setting up this game is actually very easy. All you get to do is press the unlock button on one of your stick and it will spawn this menu where you can set up your own drum kit. For example, if you want to put a snare here, all you gotta do is do it like that, press the trigger and then get another one here. For example, I'm gonna get a kick, for example. And to close it, all you gotta do is press the unlock button again and then you can start playing. But if, for example, for you setting up a whole drum set every time you play this game is a bit of a hassle, then you can just go to the options and then load drum set. Then you can load one of the 4 drum sets that's already loaded with the game. The location is a bit weird right now. All I gotta do is move my head a little bit forward and recalibrate the whole thing. With this setup, you can actually already start playing. But the main problem with this is that when you're playing drums, you usually have 2 feed pedals, where one of them is to control the open and close of the hi-hats, and for the kicks. Without the foot pedals, well, playing drums is going to be a bit too difficult for you. Fortunately, out of the box, you can use the trigger buttons. The left trigger buttons is used to open the hi-hats, and the right trigger can be used to press the kicks. This is actually not a very good solution because when you're playing it like this, it's really difficult to make sure that you're hitting the triggers at the correct timings. Like, for example, I don't know, I can do it. So to fix that, fortunately the developer of this game also allows you to plug your keyboard or a MIDI controller directly into your Quest 2. I'm gonna use this keyboard right here, for example, which I've already prepared, and it's connected to this USB on the go, where I can just plug this into my headset, like so. Now, once you've had the keyboard connected to your Quest, you can go back to the menu here, go to Options, Controls, and Keyboard. In here, we can change the space button. For example, I'm gonna change it to the Enter key. And I'm gonna change the control into the close hi-hats, rebind. I'm gonna click space on this one. Now, when I press space, you can see that the hi-hats is closed. It defaults to open. And when I press the enter button, it hits the kick. Now, with the basic setups done, you can now literally just start playing air drum. If, for example, you're a newbie drummer like me, and then you don't know how to play the basics of drums, but you also have no teacher to play it with you, fortunately, there is a song section where you basically can play drums like you're playing Guitar Hero. Alright, 4-star, okay, whatever. Now with the basic setup like this, you can already start playing music and create your own music, to be honest, on air. Which is very awesome, but unfortunately, this doesn't come with a caveat. First one that is quite apparent is that you have a very weak handle. When you're already playing drums for a very long time, I'm pretty sure that you've already had your own preferences of the type of drumsticks that you like to play with. And this handle is very weird. It is very wide, and let's say that you cannot make any handling variation that you like to play. Like, for example, I've seen several drummers who like to handle their drums like this, especially when they play blues or jazz music. This is just not comfortable. It is doable, but I don't know. Maybe some of you like to play like that, and you're willing to pay for the compromise of the handling, which is okay, which is nice, great for you. But another major drawback that I can immediately feel while drumming on this is that it has very low feedback. The only feedback that I feel is some sort of a haptic feedback vibration on my hand when I'm hitting the drums. But even that, it's so subtle. And because you're playing drums on air, there is no such thing as the bounce when you're hitting the drums. This can be problematic, especially if you rely on that pretty frequently. If, for example, you're playing a music with high beats, then having to break or stop the movement of your hand using the power of your wrist can be quite tiring. The stick will also clip very easily from one percussion to another. Like, for example, when I hit this tom, I can very easily accidentally hit the snare, which is kind of a bummer, but I think once you got used to it, you can play pretty easily. I don't know. I haven't spent that much time playing in this. I've primarily just been messing around with the entire software. Another big problem that have been happening to me quite often is that due to the shape of the Quest controller, it will hit each other quite easily. Now, this app is perfect for drummers who live in a crowded place, let's say an apartment, or you live in a house where you don't have a pretty good sound insulation at your place. Now, this app costs only under $10 on Steam, but if you have Quest 2, then it's gonna be free on their app store. There are several advantages though if you get a Steam version. First one is, while the audio is still quite lacking, the PC version still has a much better audio quality than the one on Quest 2. If you play Paradiddle on Steam, you'll have a much easier access to media output, which lets you to pass the sound as you're playing drums on the game as a media output to your digital audio workstation of choice, let's say Ableton or Reaper for superior audio setup. Now, I already showed you that playing with drums is possible, but there is a major problem, is that the buttons here, the enter button, it is very small, and every time I hit these two buttons at the same time, the kick won't register. The space button is fine, but the enter button, not so much. That's why if you were playing on Steam, then you can get a very easy access to MIDI input, where you can connect an electric drum pedal as a MIDI input for Paradiddle. Now, if a MIDI pedal is a bit too expensive for you, then you can actually build one yourself using cardboard and Arduino, like this one. This one works by basically having two wires disconnected, and when I press the pedal, the cable will connect with each other, and it basically works like a glorified dummy switch. You only need a cardboard, some cables, and an Arduino, which you can basically build all this for like $7. And I've been using this when I play with my computer, but with Quest 2 it's kind of difficult because Arduino Uno doesn't have an immediate MIDI mode that I can connect to directly to the Quest 2. Now, the main drawback with playing the PC version is that you're gonna have to connect your computer with your VR headset using a cable or wireless connection. Now, that will introduce some lag. Now, unlike the PC version, because Quest is basically a standalone headset already, it has a computer, everything built into it, it has very low latency out of the box, meaning that you can set it up pretty quickly and you can play it immediately with this. Unfortunately, the audio quality in Quest 2 is noticeably worse than the one on the Steam version. Setting up MIDI input and output on Android is also pretty difficult, but it is completely doable if you know how to do it. It even has a MIDI out, so potentially you can connect it to your computer and use your Quest 2 as a MIDI controller. Although I don't know how to do it, I tried doing it, but it just doesn't work on my case. If you know how to do it, just let me know in the comment section below as well. Now, if you have a Quest 2, definitely get that one. It's free, and see if you enjoy it. Now, if you want to record your drum session, then you have no other choice but to use the PC version. I have both, but with the ease of use of Quest 2, I'll just stick with it. With Paradiddle, you can practically play drums anytime and anywhere you want without disturbing your neighbor at 3 AM in the morning. $10 is a lot cheaper than a drum set, and even if you don't have a VR headset, a Quest 2 is basically around the same price of a drum set or an electrical drum, with the advantage of not taking too much space, and it is practically silent. Now, I'm not sponsored by the Dev or Facebook, I mean Meta. But I definitely suggest you guys to try this one out.